Representative Stefanik.
Thank you, Chairman Lambourne. First, I would like to correct the record. Earlier in this hearing, the ranking member said that the Department of Defense chose Fort Drum as the preferred missile defense site for the third Homeland Missile Defense Site nearly 10 years ago. That is incorrect. Despite the fact that you said that's correct, General Collins, you are aware that the date that was designated was 2019, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So the 10 years ago is incorrect?
Yes, ma'am. 4 years ago.
Great. You also are aware that just last year, General Milley and Vice Admiral Hill testified in front of this committee that the construction of a third site at Fort Drum would be strategically worthwhile, correct?
Yes,
You're aware
ma'am.
of that testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And you're also aware that in multiple NDAAs, the language designating Fort Drum as the preferred third site for an East Coast missile defense site has been included in multiple NDAAs. You're aware of that?
Yes, ma'am.
And just let the record reflect, the ranking member voted in support of that language not once but multiple times, as well as voted for appropriations, as did the majority of the members of this committee. Now, in the FY14 Appropriations Act and the NDAA, we worked to secure $10 million in planning and design funds for the Missile Defense Agency to begin construction activities for a third Homeland Missile Defense Site at Fort Drum. My question to you, General Collins, is as the Director of MDA, can you confirm to me that this $10 million is being used as dictated by Congress, as explicitly stated by Congress at Fort Drum to begin the planning and design of a third missile defense site?
Ma'am, the $10 million has been authorized and appropriated for that purpose, and that's the purpose we're executing it for.
And what are you using that for?
That's to do the initial planning and development of a design for a Continental Interceptor site to take it to the 10% design level.
At Fort Drum?
We are pursuing an agnostic design that would support...
That's not what the language said.
By doing it as an agnostic site, we would not slow down the capability to do it.
That's not what the language that was passed by Congress said. And you understand that in the NDAA, for multiple years, it had designated Fort Drum. There were 3 sites under consideration in 3 different states. There was a process and environmental impact study. This has been a very thorough process. And so you're saying to me today that the $10 million is not designated at Fort Drum for the planning and design?
It supports a Continental Interceptor site at any location that's determined to be optimal in the future, in line with the 2019 memo that the department signed out.
Designating Fort Drum.
Fort Drum, and it also designated that when a requirement was set for a Continental site, that there would have to be a readdress and a reassessment of location based on performance.
Even though you said in my office, when we met General Collins in my office, that you understood that the $10 million would go to the design and planning at Fort Drum, as specified by the NDAA.
If a decision is made to pursue a Fort Drum site, the $10 million will be 100% in line with being able to accomplish that.
But you do understand that multiple NDAAs, Fort Drum has been designated, as well as by DOD.
I'm aware, ma'am, of the report that the department signed out and the previous NDAAs.
Okay, great. With that, I will yield back.
All right, thank you. That concludes the public portion of this hearing. We have votes that will be called roughly 11:45 or shortly thereafter. So we will be in recess. We will go into a closed hearing up in room 2371 until such time as votes are called, and then we will adjourn the subcommittee at that point. So we will be in recess and meet upstairs.